development in pedagogy. There are different methods and approaches to learning and teaching languages. These methods and approaches change over time. These methods and approaches are influenced by different theories of teaching and learning. These methods and approaches are listed as grammar translation method, direct method, audiolingual method, total physical response, and communicative approach. We will briefly discuss about these five and understand what these approaches are. Grammar translation method. This involves translating words and sentences from a text into English. Instruction is in English and the pupil aren't expected to learn to speak the language. Some teachers still use elements of this method when they draw attention to grammatical features in texts and ask children to translate words and phrases. Direct method. This involves associating objects and visual representations with the word or phrase and the language being learned. The emphasis is on learning to speak the language. Audiolingual method. This draws a behaviorist theories of learning. This method views language as a set of skills and procedures which can be automated. It involves repeated practice of words and phrases through drills and dialogues with the substitution of new vocabulary. There is a focus on correct sentence forms and correct pronunciation. The approach is often associated with language laboratories. Total physical response. This emphasizes listening comprehensions. This method involves learners in listening to the spoken language a number of times before being required to speak. The teacher provides an association to go with different words and phrases, often an action, and learners are required to carry out the action or response in some way when they heard the phrase or word to show they have understood. This method also draws on behaviorist theories of learning. This method is a big change in approaches to learning languages. This method is related to views of learners as active participants rather than passive recipients. The purpose of language learning is to have some form of meaningful communication. Over time, the importance of the social context in which the learner is taking place and the language is to be used has always been influential. Communicative approach. This emphasizes speaking and listening, but the teacher provides authentic language and authentic situations or scenarios with the aim that learners will be able to use the language to talk to native speakers. Lessons often follow a set pattern in which the teacher introduces the language associated with a particular scenario, sometimes with visual stimuli such as a video sequence and choral and individual repetition. Learners then practice the language through role play, games and pair work and come together to present the learned language to the teacher and to the rest of the class. It is a model described as presentation, practice and production. Greetings, verbal and non-verbal ways of addressing people and some knowledge of cultural conventions are also learned. Grammar is not taught explicitly, as many supporters of this approach believe that learners will acquire this understanding through practice. However, the extent to which learners can continue to use the language or are able to engage in real conversations with native speakers often means that the language learned remains systematic and can be quickly forgotten. Teaching languages in primary schools. Teachers should ensure that students work in a language-rich environment where they can see the language being used in the classroom. The teacher can provide a language-rich environment in the class by small groups and whole group settings to interact peer-to-peer. Interactive read aloud and encourage independent reading. Having a class library, having charts that depicts the lesson or new vocabulary. What is engagement with language? Giving the learners the opportunity to engage with the language by using it in daily activities in the classroom. Peer interactions, group interaction, pair work, and problem-solving tasks that helps to promote the use of the language. Teachers also can use strategies like storytelling, dictation, comprehension, and listening activities. Models that are used to teach languages. In this video, we will discuss 3 such models. They are language sensitization, language awareness, and language competence. Language sensitization. The broad aim is to introduce children to other languages and other cultures in a fun and enjoyable way. A different language may be taught each term or year, and children are not expected to become competent in the language being taught, but to develop basic conversational skills and some knowledge about the language. For example, comparing and contrasting similarities and differences in languages and cultures, which they will then be able to apply to other language learning. The second model is language awareness. The model is developed in the belief that children need to develop sound foundations for learning languages before they focus on learning one specific language. This is best achieved in primary schools through a focus on exploring a variety of languages and making comparisons between language and other languages. Teachers do not need to be fluent speakers of the language. Other bilingual adults can become involved as well. The languages chosen for study may reflect the languages spoken in the local community. Cultural awareness is an important element in this model. Cultural awareness includes developing knowledge and understanding of our own and other multilingual, multicultural societies and developing children's ability to reflect on their own assumptions, values, and beliefs. Teaching is not necessarily timetabled, but takes place in short sessions and through incidental opportunities for learning linked to routes or projects. For example, children would be encouraged to examine the sounds, ways of expressing meanings, the scripts and writing systems, the roots of languages, and how languages are used in different contexts and for different purposes in different societies and situations. Language competence is the other model that is used to teach languages. This model aims to develop skills in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, often referred to as the 4 language skills. It is a model widely used in secondary schools. Language learning strategies. A list of strategies of teaching and learning languages to support memorization and recall. This list includes using rhythms such as chanting, clapping, or beating out, rhymes and songs, gesture, actions and mime, physical response, mouthing words silently, making comparisons between language, guessing based on context or prior knowledge, applying knowledge learned in one context to a new situation.